morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or a block, towel, where you can sit nice and tall. Your spine, the back of your neck can be nice and long, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the first Yama, back to the 8 limbs of yoga. So the 8 limbs of yoga starts off the first limb of the Yamas, and the Yamas are the guidelines of how to interact with the world. The first Yama, and there's 5 of them, the first one is Ahimsa. Ahimsa is a Sanskrit word for non-violence, non-harm, compassion, and kindness. It invites us to be all those things to ourselves and others. We practice Ahimsa on the mat by being kind to our mind, by not giving in to negative thoughts about our practice today. After all, it's practice, not perfection. We're kind to our bodies by compassionately listening to our body, finding that sweet spot. Yoga should not harm our body. It should help us to move with grace. And it also should be kind to our spirit. Always lead with your heart when you're practicing yoga, not your ego. Don't compare yourself with other people. Take joy and pride in what you're able to accomplish. And listen to your intuition about what is good for you today. Yoga helps us be kind to ourselves on the mat so we can be kind to ourselves and others off the mat. The Dali Lama has said, "Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible." So for this morning's pranayama, our breathing technique, because we're starting the 8 limbs of yoga, I'm going to start with the basic Dirga. I always kind of come back to this one because it is the base, it is the core of all breathing techniques. Just as, and I should add, that Ahimsa is the core of all yoga. I mean, it's the first of the 8 limbs, and it's the first of the first limb. So it's like first, and it should be the umbrella for your entire yoga experience. Kindness. Always have that kindness in your mind and your body and your soul. So Dirga is Sanskrit for complete, or we often call it the 3-part breath, but it applies kindness to your mind by stilling it. You're kind of focusing on your breath, so your mind stills. Within every inhale, as I mentioned at the very beginning of when we get present, an inhale is bringing life energy into you. It's the prana, it's the key, it's the energy that we all need to function. And then with our spirit, it calms our spirit, this breathing technique. There's many different techniques that actually take that calming aspect to a different level. But this is the base. And if you kindly put your one hand, your right hand, on your tummy and your left hand on your heart, and you breathing deeply through your nose, you're going to inhale and feel your tummy expand under your right hand. And then as you inhale, feel that breath flow up to your ribs and then flow up to your chest. It may be a very faint feeling up into your chest. And then exhaling, we're going to feel that very faint exhale move away from our chest, away from our ribs, and then kind of deflate our tummy. So inhaling deeply through our nose, feel that tummy expand. Follow that breath up to the ribs, up to the chest, and then exhale. Let it flow away from your chest, away from your ribs, and away from your tummy, kind of deflating your tummy. Take a few moments just to kind of bring your awareness and your focus into that movement of the deep inhale and what it does to your body, and the deep exhale and how that affects your body. Just take a few moments to do that. And you may return to your normal breath. And hopefully with that, you felt the stillness that it brings to the mind, the life energy that it brought to your body, and the calming that it brings to your spirit. We'll take a few moments to do a meditation. And for this morning's meditation, the mudra that I'd like to introduce, or we've done this before, is the Lotus Mudra. And the Lotus Mudra opens the heart center and creates a more loving attitude toward others. And that mudra is putting your hands together and then keeping the pinky and the thumbs together, but opening the other fingers like opening petals on a flower, almost kind of like making a crown. So if you'd like, take your meditation, you can kind of bring this into the meditation. Yesterday I was practicing with this and I used it. I've been having a little bit of a difficult time with someone, and I used it and I opened it up and sent that loving attitude out to that person. And I just kind of kept doing that for a while. And it actually affected me, made me a little less confrontational, I guess would be the word I would use when I was thinking about that person. So use it, send it out pure love, or maybe trying to resolve a difficult situation that you're in. I'll leave it up to you, or you can use any hand position that you'd like, and I will meet you on the mat. Okay, open your eyes and we'll start our asana practice. We'll start with a few warm-ups for our neck area. And if you want, you can focus on your breathing as well. Just kind of when you're doing these rotations with your head, just really focus on the breath, maybe just the tummy area, because that's oftentimes where we don't have our breath. We kind of often breathe just from up here, which then kind of, well, it's not using the full capacity, I'm going to put it that way, of our diaphragm and our breathing experience. By bringing it back all the way down into the tummy, it does reinforce that calming, that stillness. So let's just start with head nods, and we're going to exhale, bringing our eyes down to our feet, to the mat, and then inhale and feel that tummy expand, bringing your eyes up to the tops of treetops, not straight up to the sky. So just have a gentle angle when you are at the top. And then exhale, bringing your head back down to your feet. Drishti, one of the 9 drishti points is your feet. So inhale, feeling that tummy expand, lifting your eyes up to the treetops. And another drishti of the 9 is extending your gaze out. Exhale, bring your head back down. Inhale, gently with control, feel that tummy expand as you lift your eyes up to the treetops. Exhale, lowering your head down, eyes down. Inhale, lifting your head up, eyes focused outward. And then one last exhale, bringing your head down. And And bring our head back up to its normal station. And then we're going to move from side to side. So exhaling, turning your head to the left. And gently turn it. Just kind of ease into this. Or actually, maybe we should inhale to the left. And then exhale to the front. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the front. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the front. And you can go slower if that's more comfortable with your breathing pattern. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the front. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the front. Inhale to the right. And then return your head back to neutral position. And then we'll start again with some shoulder shrugs. So gently just roll your shoulders up toward your ears on the inhale and lower them down toward the floor to the ground on the exhale. Focusing on your breath as you do this, and also being aware of relaxing your shoulders, softening your shoulders. And you can reverse the direction. And then come back to a neutral position. And with you, if you have your legs crossed, uncross them and set them side by side so that both feet are leaning on the mat. We're going to do a seated forward fold. So if you bring your right leg in front of your left leg and walk your hands out in front of you, pivoting from the waist and lowering down till you reach that sweet spot. And listen to your breath when it starts to become shallow or a little rugged. Just kind of back up till you get that nice, smooth, even flow. And then we're going to walk our hands over to the right side. And see if you can bring your torso over your right thigh. Again, listen to your breath, feel your breath in your body. Let it tell you how you should move into this pose. And then walk your hands back toward your knee. And then pivot your knee up to the sky. Wrap your left arm around your knee and send your right fingertips behind your hips, twisting your torso to the right. And then come back to a neutral position. We'll change our feet out so that the left leg is on the outer side and the right leg is on the inner portion, side by side on the mat. And then we'll slowly walk our fingers, our hands out, pivoting from the waist. Listen to your breath and come to that sweet spot. And then walk your hands over to the left, as far as what is comfortable, maybe as far as bringing your torso over your left thigh. And then walk your hands back toward your left knee, and then pivot your left knee up toward the sky. Wrap your right arm around your knee. Send your left fingertips behind your hips, twisting your torso to the left side. And sending your gaze out. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. And then come back to neutral position. We're going to roll down on our mat. So if you would straighten out your legs first, pointing your toes, lifting your arms up, pointing your fingertips, and just gently roll down one vertebrae at a time. And when you land on the mat, send your arms overhead, fingertips up toward the top of the mat, and take a nice deep stretch, like you're stretching first thing in the morning. So you're stretching your feet down and you're stretching your hands up. You just really feel that stretch all through your body. And then bring your hands behind your head, interlacing your fingers, bringing your head down on your fingers is a nice pillow or supportive hammock. Shoulder blades are nice and snug in the mat. And we're going to take our right leg and slide it up the inner part of our left leg till the sole of our right foot comes to the left knee and our legs are in a figure four. Your right knee should be pointing to the right side of the mat. And then we're going to pivot our right knee up toward the sky, bringing the sole of our right foot down to the mat. Then bring your awareness to your lower back. Tuck your navel to your spine so that you feel your lower back reach toward the mat. And then our left foot, we're going to raise it up to the sky, but I'd like you to first flex it up, your toes up toward the sky. And then we're going to lift the left leg up toward the sky, keeping our foot flexed the entire time. So the sole of our foot will be reaching up to the sky. Just come up as far as what's comfortable. And then lowering that leg back down, slowly with control, back down to the mat. And then again, bring your awareness to your lower back, tucking your navel to your spine, lowering that lower back toward the ground. Then we're going to lift our foot again, keeping the foot flexed up to the sky. And then slowly lowering it back down with control. And check on your pelvis area, navel's tucked to the spine. And then lift our foot up. See if you can reach it a little further up. Maybe so the sole of the foot is flat, reaching to the sky. And then slowly bring it back down. And again, we'll do this 2 more times. Slowly bring it up. And slowly bring it back down. And then slowly bring it back up. And actually, when we're up, when your foot's up, reaching for the sky, take that left foot and bring it down and rest it on the top of your right thigh, just below the knee. So your ankle is right below the knee. And the arms are still behind your head, cradling your head. And at this point, we do a reclined pigeon, but we're not going to use our hands at all for this. So keep your left foot flexed. Your left knee, try to guide it. Find the strength in your leg to guide it toward the left side of the mat. And then lift your right leg up. So both feet are flexed, toes pointing to the sky. And now find the strength in your right leg, in your right knee, and guide that right leg toward your chest. Same thing that we do with our hands interlaced behind our thigh, but we're doing it in a look, mom, no hands style. And then we'll release our legs, bringing them back down to the mat, back into reclined mountain. Stretch your hands out above and just stretch everything once again. And then bring your interlaced fingers behind your head again. We're going to do that on the other side. So slide your left foot up the inner part of your right leg till it comes to the knee. And your left knee is now pointing to the right side, creating a figure 4. Pointing to the left side, creating a figure 4. And then pivot your left knee up toward the sky, bringing the sole of your left foot down to the mat. And then bring your awareness down to your lower back, tucking your navel to your spine, lowering your lower back toward the mat. We're going to do the same thing we did before, flexing our toes. We're going to reach our right foot now up to the sky and come to the spot that's comfortable. You can keep a soft bend in your knee, doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And then slowly lower it back down. And lift it up. We'll do this a couple more times. And if you'd like, you could go at your own pace. You don't have to follow me, but we'll just do a few of them. And then lowering with control. Again, check in to make sure your navel's tucked to your spine. Inhale, lifting my foot up to the sky. And then gently lowering it with control. 2 more times. And on the last time, if you would keep your foot up in the air, then we'll bring our right ankle to our left thigh, just below the knee. And then sending your right knee to the right side of the mat. Toes are flexed still, toes pointing to the sky. And then we'll lift our left leg up, flexing both feet, toes pointing up to the sky. And then with our strength and of our left leg and the knee, we're going to bring that left leg toward our chest without using our hands. Or you can use your hands. Who am I to say what you can do? Let your body tell you what you can do. All right, and then unfurl your legs, bring them back down. Take a nice deep stretch again, both hands and feet stretching out. And then bring your knees to your chest, give them a nice gentle hug, and we'll roll back up. So you can either roll over to the side and come up to your hands and knees, or you can roll along your back and make your way up into a seated position and then into tabletop. Tabletop, our wrists are right below our shoulders, knees below our hips, navels tucked to our spine. We have our weight of our arms equally, or the weight of our body equally distributed in our hands. We'll do a few cat-cows. This is where your breath really comes in to synchronizing the movement to your breath. I love this move. We're going to exhale, rounding our back, bringing our head and our tailbone down. Then inhale, sending our gaze up and out in front of us, lifting up our tailbone. Exhale, rolling back into the cat pose. Head comes down, tailbone comes down. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. And just continue at your own pace, really listening to your body, listening to your breath, synchronizing the movement with your breath. And then come back to tabletop, to a neutral position. And bring your knees together so they're touching under your hips. And we'll go into bird dog. So extend your right leg out at hip height. And then just check in your hands, make sure your weight's evenly distributed, and then lift your left arm up, pointing your fingertips out. And then we'll point our toes on the inhale and flex our toes toward the ground on our exhale. Inhale, point, exhale, flex, 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 and bring both arm and leg back down. We'll do that on the other side. So again, check in, see that your weight's evenly distributed in your hands. Send your left leg up to hip height, pointing your toes. Right arm extends forward, pointing the fingertips. Point, inhale, flex, exhale, 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 point, inhale, and flex, exhale, and bring both hand and leg back down. So we'll walk or tuck our toes under, walk our hands back, coming to the tops of our, or the balls of our feet into a squat position, and then pushing down to our feet, come up into a mountain pose. And we'll just go through the mountain pose. Mountain pose is great for the essentials of good posture. So we're going to start with our toes pointing to the straight edge of the mat, lifting our toes up off the mat, spreading them apart as much as you can. Bring the toes back down to the mat, lift your heels up off the mat, and then bring your heels down and really feel that grounded connection to your mat. Legs are nice and straight and strong. Gentle bend in your knees. Navel's tucked to your spine, elongating your spine and the back of your neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked ever so slightly toward your chest, and the crown of your head reaches up to the sky. And we'll take a deep inhale, sweeping our hands up towards the sky. And exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go, landing our hands on the mat, on the ground. And just take a moment to check in. I think in this posture, one that you're not normally in, I hope, it's a different perspective. So you can feel and assess how you're feeling differently than if you were standing straight up in mountain pose. So it's just a different way of checking in, maybe making yourself a little bit more aware of what is going on. And then inhale, bringing your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze straight down for half forward fold. And then exhale, dropping the crown of your head down toward the ground. Just let gravity take over for a moment. Then sweep your hands from the floor, from the mat, all the way overhead. Come up onto your tippy toes. And then we'll bring our hands down as we lower our heels down to the mat. And we'll sweep them up as we inhale, coming back up onto our tippy toes. And exhale, lowering our heels to the mat. Inhale, sweeping our hands up as we lift up onto our toes. And exhale, coming down. One last time, sweeping up. Big inhale, I can smell the daffodils right here. Oh, they smell so good. Exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bringing our hands to our shins, flattening out our back. That spine, back of your neck, nice and long and straight. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweep our hands all the way up overhead. And do some side stretches. So we're going to bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide it down to our knee, creating a nice crescent. Again, focus on your breath. Let your breath tell you how far into this pose it should go. And then inhale back up. And left hand comes down the left thigh, sliding that hand down toward the left knee. Inhale, come back up. One more time on each side. Right hand to right thigh. Slide it to the right knee. And then inhale, come back up. Left hand to left thigh, sliding it down. Inhale, come back up. And then bring your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to the shins, flat back. And then forward fold, dropping the crown of the head down toward the mat. Inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. And the hands will come together. Prayer pose, Dali Mudra. Hands come to heart center. And we're going to be in mountain pose. And then what I'd like is for us to lift our leg without trying to move our hips. So if you want Dali Mudra, or maybe keep your hands on your hips to really determine how much you're moving. So a lot of us will like lift our leg and go like that. Try to stay as straight as possible in mountain pose and lift your right leg up. It's a little harder than it sounds. And then we're going to kick our foot to the front. A few gentle kicks. And if you want, you don't have to have your leg up very high. You can have it down here. But just try to keep that straight mountain pose. I'm not even sure if I'm accomplishing that. So your leg can be up at any level, just kicking your toes forward. And then bring that right foot down. We'll do that on the other side. So reestablish your mountain pose. Toes are in line with the straight side of your mat. Lift up. See, I'm tipping over. Lift up your left leg to any height that works for you. And then just do a few pointed kicks. And then bring your foot back down. Sweep our hands up overhead and exhale, bringing them back down to the mat. Bending our knees. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to the shins, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Crown of the head goes down toward the mat. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Then palms come to the back of the hips. Feet are about hip width apart. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked to your chest. We'll just do a supported back bend by dropping our shoulders back, listening to our breath to determine when we should stop our tilt. Keeping our breath nice and even and flowing. I think I told you when I first started doing this pose, I couldn't breathe. I used to hold my breath the entire time. Now I've figured out how to do that. And then bring your torso back up to mountain pose. How's everyone doing? We're running a little late, I think. So I'll speed it up a little bit. So we're going to sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, bring them down to the mat. Forward fold, and then extend our feet toward the back of the mat, coming into downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a moment or two. Hands, the fingertip or index finger should be pointing to the top of the mat. You should be somewhat gripping the mat, and that will actually add strength to your fingers as well as your hands. Arms are straight, chest is reaching toward your thighs to elevate your hips up. Knees are bent, and if you're pedaling, keep them bent. And then we're going to inhale, bringing our left knee to our left elbow, pushing off with our right toes. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then inhale, lifting our left knee to our left elbow. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And this time we're going to bring the left foot between our hands. So inhale, bending our knee, bringing our foot up, and you can guide it to the point where your hands are between, or your hands are framing your foot. And then we're going to pivot our back foot down and rise up into warrior one. So we're going to keep that front leg bent so it's knees over your ankle. Sweeping our arms up toward the sky. And then bringing them down toward our chest. And we're going to create that mudra that we did earlier. So the Lotus Mudra. Fingertips and thumbs are together, and the three middle fingers are opened up like a flower. And then we're going to straighten out our front leg, kind of leaning back, and then lean forward, bending our front leg to the point where your knee comes right to the top of your big toe, not extending further than that. So we'll just continue this movement, inhaling, straightening out our leg, exhaling, bringing it back into a lunge position, lunging so that our knee is right over our big toe, and then back and forth a few times. Inhale, and then bend our knee, exhale, lean forward. So we're kind of sending the kindness and love to ourselves. And then when we bend our knee and move forward, we're sending it out to the world. So inhale, bring the love in, and exhale. Bend your knee, send it out. And we'll do that one more time. Coming in, and then out. And then bring your both hands back down to the mat. Pivot your foot so you're back to runner's lunge. Planting your right hand on the mat, we're going to sweep our left hand from the mat all the way up to the sky. And you can follow that sweep with your eyes. And then bring that left hand back down. And when we bring it down, we're going to place it right beside our right hand. So we have our left foot, our left hand, and our right hand all in a line. And then we're going to bring our right leg down to the mat, top of our left foot down to the mat, coming into lizard pose. So our left knee is resting beside our shoulder, left shoulder. And you can stay here in lizard pose. Just kind of feel that stretch out, get comfortable in that. Or you can come down to your elbows for an additional stretch. And then come back up, tuck your back toes under, return to runner's lunge, and then bring your left foot back to meet your right foot and come into plank. Wrists are right below your shoulders. Feet are pushing down into the mat. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips slightly. No saggy tummies here, please. And then gently lower down to the mat. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping your elbows tucked to the sides. And then bring your fingertips below your shoulders. Lifting your chin and chest up. Gently pushing into your hands, come into cobra. And then continue pushing up to tabletop. And then lowering your hips down to your ankles for child's pose. Extending your arms out for extended child pose. And then bringing yourself back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, come into downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into forward fold. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And we'll do tree pose on one side. So let's start with our left leg as the anchor. So you lift your right leg up as we did earlier. And you can place it back down, your choice. You bring your toes to the mat and your right ankle to your right heel to your left ankle. One version of tree pose. The other version is to have your foot alongside your calf. And then another version is to have your foot all the way up to the thigh. So once you become still and stable in this, work on your mudra. Whoa. Can't do two things, I guess. So. So I'm going to bring my pinkies on. And you can bring your foot back down anytime you're ready. We'll do that on the other side. So sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, bring them back down to the mat. Sending your feet out to the back of the mat, coming into downward dog. And pedal out here for a moment. And I'm going to bring your right knee to your right elbow, pushing off with your left toes, and then back to downward dog, pedal out. Inhale, bring your right knee to your right elbow, and then back, pedal out. And this last one, we're going to bring our right foot between our hands. So inhale, guide your right foot between your hands. And then pivot your left foot down and come up into warrior one. And then we'll bring our hands down to Anjali Mudra or our Lotus Mudra. And we're going to straighten out our front leg. And then bend our front leg as we move forward. Just make sure our knee is not over or goes beyond our big toe. So sending out our mudra, come back, straightening the leg, inhale, and then exhale, going forward. Then inhale, come back in. And then exhale, moving forward, sending love and kindness out into the world. Inhale, come back in. And one last time, extend our hands out, bending our knee over the toe, and then dropping our hands to the mat, pivoting our back foot, so we're back into runner's lunge. Planting our left hand on the mat, sweeping our hand up to our right hand up to the sky. And then bringing our right hand back down and bringing our right hand to the inner side of our right foot. So we have our right foot, our right hand, and our left hand all in a line. And bringing our left knee down to the mat for lizard pose. Again, you could stay here and stretch out that back leg. Stay here or bring your elbows down to the mat for an additional stretch. And then bring our hands back up, tuck our back toes under, coming back into runner's lunge. Bring our right foot back to join our left foot for plank. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips, and then slowly lowering down to the mat. And then bringing your fingertips below your shoulders, lifting your chin, your chest, gently pushing down, come into cobra. And then keep pushing up into tabletop, lowering your hips down to your ankles, stretching your arms out in front of you for extended child pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lifting your hips back up to downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then walking your feet up to your hands, forward fold. Sweeping your hands from the mat all the way up to the sky. Hands come together. Palms come to heart center, Anjali Mudra, and then we'll do our tree pose on the other side. So I did my left leg, I'm gonna anchor with my right leg, which is a little bit more stable than my left leg. And then we're gonna lift, you can keep your hands in Anjali Mudra or on your hips, lift our left leg up, and then you choose where you'd like your tree. It could be a sapling where it's small, or mid-growth, or mature growth up to the top. Okay. Or no growth. I think I'm gonna go mid-growth today. Seem to be wobbly. My hands are in Anjali Mudra, but I'm gonna bring them into the Lotus Mudra, sending out kindness and love. And then come back to mountain pose. We'll bring our pinky toes to the edge of the mat. Tucking our heels in at a 45-degree angle, and then we're going to come into a wide-legged squat. So palms together at heart center, lower your hips down toward the mat, bringing your torso between your legs. Knees or elbows are resting on the inside of your knees. And you can continue to bring your hands down toward the mat for a little bit more stretch in your legs. And then we're going to come down to the mat and roll down, knees to chest. Give them a nice hug. Walk back and forth. And then we'll extend our arms out to the sides at shoulder height. And exhale, lowering our knees to the right side for reclined twist. And gently send our eyes to the left. Look at our left fingertips. And gently roll our head back to center. Inhale, lifting our legs back to center. And then exhale, drop our knees to the left side. And then gently roll our head to the right to look at our right fingertips. And then roll our head back to center. Inhale, lift our legs back to center. And then extend our feet to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Send your heels to each corner and let your feet just flop open. Take some deep inhales, and on the exhales, just relax your whole body into the mat. It's like it's relaxing into a cloud. Arms come out at a diagonal, palms up to the sky. Gentle smile placed on your lips. Just relax. And I'd like to end today's session with the 6 principles of nonviolence, written by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Number 1, nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Number 2, nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. Number 3, nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Number 4, nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Number 5, nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. And number 6, nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice.